Hey y'all, welcome back to Crystal Vision Therapy. Of course, I'm your favorite host, Hadisha. And today, y'all, we're gonna get into this Neil Long and Jeezy interview because it's everything. It's everything that you needed. I must say this though, this is my little disclaimer. I'm very disappointed in blogs or the media. And maybe I don't have the best interpretation of what a blog is supposed to do. And I think our media outlets now are more concerned sometimes with what's going to give them the most clicks, right? The most attention so they can get that advertising dollars. I get that 100%. But I think this discussion was so important and had a lot of amazing gems. But the only thing that we saw was parts that was obscurely talking about Jeannie Mai. Right? Like about their divorce, trying to put those pieces together, which he doesn't really highlight. I mean, you probably can deduce that the marriage probably was no longer serving him, no longer serving little J, right? As he speaks and maybe there were some triggers there and he decided to kind of walk away, right? We can deduce that. But they talk about so many other things that I think is really, really important for people to hear. And hopefully people heard, because I do see at this point, 2.8 million people have viewed the video. So hopefully they got something from it. Now, another side to it that I think that I must address is his motives. I completely understand feeling like, you know what? Are you trying to sell books? Probably. You know, are you trying to what is your commitment level, right, to the Black community based on some of the choices that you've made thus far? I think those are all fair assessments, but I think 3, 4, 5 things can be true at the same time. I can feel like, you know what, this is a great opportunity for you to sell books, and feel like, you know what, but the information is still important, and we can take, as they used to say, like there's a saying that's chew the chicken and spit out the bone. I could spit the bone out, but still chew the chicken because it's chicken. And so what I think is really important about this interview is it really is a kind of a referendum on the Black community and mental health, particularly Black men. I do think it's important that Black men are highlighted. I don't think they're highlighted enough. I think that they're having a unique struggle right now that has been going on for some time, but we just don't have insight because them talking and discussing is not always encouraged. And so I'm encouraged when I see this. So let's get into like, what are some of the gems? What can we take? So Jeezy talks about forgiveness a lot, right? The title of this is I forgive, but I don't forget, right? And let's hear why he says it's important.
So on the way back, I tell my driver, I give him an address and I say, yo, take me to this address. And we pull up, it's like an old church. And my sister has it set up nice out there. Well, we set it up nice where my mom's buried, we got like a bench and all these things. She has a crown and stuff. So it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Right? And it's peaceful. And I went out there because I had some life changes that was going on. And I wrote her a letter on the way there. And I sat down and I read the letter to her. I told her about her new granddaughter, how amazing, beautiful she was. I told her that, working on my relationship with my son, and we're in a kind of cool place. I told her about my middle daughter and how beautiful she's turning now. I told her about, my life changes and the things that, that I'm concerned about, some of my fears, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, and I basically forgave her.
Ooh, that's good.
And my basis of the letter was to tell her, everything that was going on in my life. And, even if she's not proud, I understand.
What did you say in the moment of forgiveness?
I understand what it's like to raise a rebellious kid. I understand what it's like to have your own wounds, that your work that she needed to do, right? And she didn't get a chance to do that. And I understand that maybe she had a different way of loving me that I didn't understand.
Listen, forgiveness is a superpower, literally a superpower. As he's talking about forgiving his mom, and just a little backstory on his mom, he says they had a really tumultuous relationship. She pulled a gun on him when he was 13 and said, listen, you either gonna basically get down or lay down, right? And then he left and was living on his own, taking care of himself. And this is where some of the kind of inspiration for his music came from. And you kind of hear how he said, listen, I get it. As an adult, I understand what it's like, and I understand you having your wounds, and I understand that there's a certain way that you tried to love me that maybe I didn't understand. Clearly there was some poor parenting. Clearly she helped to traumatize him, help contribute to him feeling worthless, him feeling void of love, right? But as he's talking, you can see, as he talks about forgiving her, you can see he gets lighter and lighter, and it's freeing, and he's able to free himself from that. You can tell he has carried that around with him for years and years and years and years, even after she died. It might not have anything to do with who little J was. It's not that he was something that was truly, truly, truly not worthy of love. And forgiveness helps you to see those things. It's a superpower. It's literally a superpower. And the people who are amazing at this, I find, are the most peaceful. He also goes on to say that 99.9% of people in your life will do something to you. 100% true. No one is without fault in your life, right? We are not without fault, right? We have done things to people, and people have done things to us. And, you know, instead of like, you know what, I'm going to hold this forever, you know, we're forever, you're forever my enemy. We can let it go. I can leave you where you are, right? I don't have to take you with me, but I can forgive and let go. And so that, I think, is a superpower. It's an important step to healing, and I'm glad that they discussed it. Trauma begins, and for a lot of us ends in childhood. You are most vulnerable in childhood. You feel the most powerless. And so you remember those moments more, those moments where you feel like there's nothing that I can do, right? This is happening to me. I am truly, truly a victim. And that's what we remember. And so we remember what it was like growing up. Some people, you talk about their childhood, they can remember every inch, or some people block it out, right? For some people, it's really painful. And so for a lot of people, healing your inner child, it is transformational in therapy. Challenging the thoughts of your inner child is transformational. And he talks a lot about that here. He talks a lot about that. He talks a lot about little J.
That comes from me not always feeling safe as little Nia,
Right.
and me not wanting my children to ever not feel like they don't have me active in their lives as their safety.
I love my son. I think he's an amazing guy. I think he's very charismatic. I think he got all the things, but I think that the way I've tried to love him over the years was totally wrong, not his love language for him. And I think the things that I instilled in him as a youngster, you know, that doesn't serve him now.
So this, you know, I love what he said. This was really, really short, but what he said was, I loved him wrong. It wasn't his love language. He's his own person. Your children are people, and they have wants, desires. And even if you think I'm an adult, I know better. I hear this a lot in sessions where it's like, I gave my child everything they could have wanted, right? I worked 4 jobs. Yes, they had babysitters, but I just want them to have the life I never had. And then you have a child that's like, I just wanted you to be home. I didn't care about the big Christmases. I could have had one gift on Christmas. I wanted you to do my homework. I wanted to feel loved. I didn't want to deal with some of these things that the babysitter maybe put me through. And you have to be mindful of that. Yes, there are things we can learn from our parents and say, you know what, I want to avoid this and do better for my child. But what does your child need? Right? Be cued into that. And I think that that was another healing gem, because if you can do that, right? If you can look at people and meet them where they are and not think about bringing your trauma into relationships, that's a superpower. That's another healing gem. This section of the discussion prompts, what do you feel was neglected for you when you were a child, right? For Jeezy, it was he didn't feel valued, he didn't feel loved. I know for me, it was I needed to learn how to take up space, right? I always made myself really, really small. Um, what was it for you? The last kind of gem that I got from it was, but it's so important to affirm yourself and affirm your loved ones. There was a section in it where Jeezy is telling me along that she is amazing, right? And she is an example of a great person, a great Black woman, and she starts crying. And it almost was like she doesn't hear that often. And he probably hasn't heard that he's a great person often. And so that's all it took. It took those few sentences and she was crying. We need to love on each other. And if there's no one in the vicinity to love on you, love on yourself. Tell yourself how great you are. Right? I'm not talking about what did you accomplish today. I'm not talking about like how much money you have in the bank. I'm not talking about, Instagram or text. I'm not talking about these things. I'm talking about the things that truly matter. Affirm those things. You know what? Today, I look great. All right. You could be in Walmart clothes, but if you're putting this together, you look great. Today, I did a great job of at work. Right. Like I handled that call so well. You know, today, I learned something I'm proud of. You can start that small. You don't have to start huge. It doesn't have to be the biggest thing that you've ever accomplished for you to affirm yourself and where you are.
The way that Black people stood up for me, and the way that Black women were like, oh no, you don't do that to her. I was shocked because I didn't realize that what I had done or what I've done in my career had so much impact.
You didn't really?
No, not at all. And I'm not even being like funny.
You're America's sweetheart. Like, it's crazy.
Well, shit.
Hell, you don't know that?
I don't regard myself in that way because it's always really about the work for me.
Well, I'm going to say this. I feel like I'm sitting across from you.
Yeah.
Which is why I wanted to have this conversation with you, because I want to personally tell you that you embody what a well-minded, grown-ass Black woman is supposed to be like. And we stand with you always.
It's crazy to me that Nia Long is shocked that she is revered, especially in the Black community. She is America's sweetheart for us, right? She's Nia Long. And I know that, she probably feels like maybe she didn't transcend right into what they call mainstream. But she means a lot to a lot of people. And you could tell she was shocked. And affirm yourself. And I think I loved that Jeezy affirmed her. Even if some people feel like, there was a double entendre, right? Was he trying to speak to all of Black women and his past actions of the past couple of years, right? When did he come to this epiphany? I'm not sure. Two things can be true at the same time. Maybe it was, right? I'm not here to say that his intentions were pure, but affirming each other matters. Aside from agendas that were possible here, this was a great discussion. I want to know, comment, like, subscribe. What did you gain from this discussion, if anything? And what is helping you on your journey of healing? All right. Take care, guys.